then I asked him to play Soulbound, and then he's like, no. I was like, yeah, okay. Did they fucking watch the surveillance video? Oh yeah, he really was here. Oh, he's long gone now.
Where did you say they found him at?
At McDonald's.
No, where?
Hello everyone, welcome. Today I just wanted to share my build with you guys. So here is my gear. Here is a pretty much a required item if you want things to go a little smooth. What this item does is it converts 100% of your fire damage and converts it to cold damage. So this is great for fireball, and you can use other skills, and I'll go over that later, but these are not super mandatory, but I highly recommend them. Then we got just a regular wand with some spell damage, cold. You want spell, cold, and some cast, maybe some mana in there. Helmet, nothing too fancy, just some life. Trying to get resist, but have bad luck. Amulet, you want to, a key thing on here is spirit. You want to get some spirit. Then you just want an armor piece with armor, resistance, life. Same thing with rings, life, resistance, and cast speed if you can. Unfortunately, mine are very crap. Shield, life, resistances. If you're going with a ES shield, try and get some spell damage on there and resistance and life. Boot. Before you look for anything, make sure you try and get 20% increased movement speed before anything else. Then get life and resistances. Belt, life, resistances. Maybe some armor. I got kind of lucky with this one. The life roll is very bad, but hey, I can't be complaining too much. At any charm, you're lacking resistances. Your life and mana flask with gain charges per second, which is pretty nice. So let's go into the skill gems. I am using well, I don't use Frostbolt anymore, but like I said, if you don't have these gloves, you can use Frostbolt, use Glaciation, Controlled Destruction. That's pretty much it that you need for Frostbolt. Well, and you do need one more, which is Scattered Shot. That way your projectiles fork and you can have a better increased chance of applying freeze. So our main thing that we are doing damage with is Comet, and this is for like fast clear speeds. Comet is linked with Cast on Freeze. So Cast on Freeze triggers Comet. I have Spell Echo, and then I have Impetus. So you want to make sure you have a high level Cast on Freeze, because you want to have at least 53 or higher percent to make sure that every time you freeze something, you cast your Comet. So then we have Frost Bomb, which I have linked to Persistence, so it lasts a little longer. And then we have Strip Away, so it can apply more exposure. This is for bosses. This is what you're going to be applying. So when you're up against bosses, you use Frost Bomb and you use Frost Wall. This is another big DPS skill. So Frost Wall is linked with Concentration, then Icicle, because you want your Frost Walls to explode as soon as you can, so you want to lower the life of it. Then we have Ingenuity, which helps us with our cooldown, because we can cast 3, and you want to have that 3 back up as quick as possible. And then our spam skill that we use is Fireball, and we use Fireball because we have our gloves that convert everything to cold, and we want to freeze everything because once we freeze stuff, that's when it procs our cast on freeze, and that's when our comets come down. So we have Scattered Shot in here, which if you don't have Fireballs, put Scattered Shot in Frostbolt because it helps freeze. Then we have Unleash, that way you can cast a couple more times. And then I have Wild Shards, which has a 20% chance to fire 8 additional projectiles everywhere. That's why you see like lots of projectiles just going everywhere sometimes. That's that proc right there. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to get a 4-link right now because I haven't come across the jewelers yet. Then once you have enough spirit, and that's when you get your amulet with 40 plus spirit, and also when you do your Act 2 in normal and Act 3 in normal. Well, actually Act 1 to get your spirit, and then Act 3 to get your additional spirit from the tribal lady. And then in Cruel Act 3 you'll get more spirit, so you should have enough, and then all you need is your amulet, and you should be able to run a Blasphemy. Basically, this is just letting you run a aura of any curse of your desire. I did have Hypothermia in there, but when it comes to bosses, I like to manually use Hypothermia. But for mapping, I like to have Temporal Chains to slow down enemies, because I don't want them just creeping up on me really fast. I want to have time to cast stuff and be prepared. And I had that with Magnifying to increase our area. So Temporal Chains and Magnification. Now, if you don't have Temporal Chains, I would use Hypothermia, so you can get more minus resistance on the enemies. Alright, so let's go into the skill tree. So, what you want to do, now if you're starting off, I would definitely, like if you're starting like level 1, I would recommend going into a lightning build, like Sparks, and then Arc, and then just try and level up that way. Arc, Flame Wall too as well, and Sparks really helps leveling up. But here's my skill tree. You want to go into here, you want to pick up some mana regen, some cast speed, you want to get some cold freeze build up, then you want to go into here and you want to get this elemental exposure. This is for when we freeze stuff, we get to take advantage of this extra damage because they're afflicted by a element or ailment. So, and then you want some penetration to cold, because that is, most of our skills are going to be cold damage. Well, everything is going to be cold damage. Then you want to get some mana recovery, because it is very mana dependent. Then you want to come up here and you want to get climate change. Then you want to come up here and you want to get overexposure. Then this is optional. I could take this off, but if you want to take advantage of this 15%, you can use a mixture of Firewall in your build and try to apply a burn, or you can use the lightning balls to apply a shock. If you can apply fire or shock, then you can take advantage of this. So, and then we come up here, put whatever jewel you want in here. This is the only jewel I could really get that's decent. So, and then they come up here, you get Inescapable Cold, Endless Chill, and Inglatiation. Then you're going to want to come over here, try and get some strength nodes so you can get some gear. The strength requirements, come up here, get Ingenuity. I could definitely probably take off some of probably this. Then you want to come in here to get lots of mana regeneration. Then you're going to get spell damage for 100 mana. So every time, we're basically always going to be stacking a bunch of mana. And then the more mana you have, the more damage you're going to do. So you also want to grab this. Every time you're running, you regenerate more mana. So you always want to be on the move. Don't be stopping. Then you want to get Eldritch Battery. This converts your energy shield into mana, and that is why a lot of my gear has armor and ES, armor and ES, armor ES, armor ES, and armor ES. ES is energy shield for all the new people. So we're converting our energy shield into more mana. And then later on, I'm not done with the build yet, but later on we're gonna be taking advantage of our mana, and we're gonna be converting into every time we take hits, we're gonna be taking damage from our mana instead of our health. And I'll get to that a little bit. So you want to come down here, and this is pretty important. You want to get evocated efficiency, because this lets you get enough percent. Well, actually, if you don't have enough, this is important for cast on crit stuff. So let me go back into my cast on crit. So this is what you really want to be looking at right here. You want to have this above 53%. If you don't have it above 53%, you're not going to be casting your Comet every time you freeze something. You might have to freeze them one more time to trigger this. So, very important. So if you are lacking in this department, what you could do is go back, and you could invest some points into this. Now, early in the game, I did have to spec into this, but once you have a high enough cast when frozen spell, once it's leveled up enough, you can take these points out and put them elsewhere. But keep in mind, this is pretty important if you want to fulfill that requirement. Then you want to come down here and get some more freeze buildup. More freeze buildup. You could potentially get this if you have extra stats. Then you want to come over here. Eventually, I do want to take. This is why I said I was going to be taking damage from our mana instead of our life. I'm slowly working to it, but this is where I am going to be heading into, and then probably start heading up into this as well. So that is pretty. Oh, this is also very important right here. You want to get reduce ice crystal life. So these nodes right here, and ice crystal life. Now, why we want this is because for our frost wall, this is considered a ice crystal, and we want to decrease the life of the ice crystal further. So that is what that node does in the skill tree. And that is pretty much it. That is the basic part of the skill. Later on, I would definitely recommend trying to get more mana and more energy shield, or anything with mana, something that's gonna help you survive more. And then later on, you can start investing. If you're like feeling tanky, you can go into more spell damage, and you can invest into I think there's some other cold nodes over here. Yeah, you can invest into these cold nodes, but there's definitely a lot of options to go for. So anywho, that is my skill tree for now. I am only level 70, so I could probably get up to 90 something. But yeah. So my ascendancy, I am a sorceress, and I would highly recommend getting Arcane Surge, because it gives you cast speed. If you actually hold down Alt and you select it, it gives you 10% more cast speed and 20% more mana regen. So we definitely want that. And I might spec out of this, but it's kind of hard to say. I would probably do this first, and then once you get your other ascendancy points through the trials, spec into this. But I totally forgot to switch over to this, because at first I was a lightning build. But yeah, but since we're stacking lots of mana, this probably does help out quite a bit, because we're getting lots of mana regen and lots of cast speed. Another option you guys could take is to go this route. and get some more mana regen and damage taken before mana, which is good. You can also come up into here and grab 40% increase effective Arcane Surge, which you will also benefit from it. Then you can also increase or take advantage of these nodes over here, if you can make it over here. This is for like more endgame theory crafting, but more damage taken from mana before life. This will probably help you survive in the very late game. But anywho, that's about it. Alright, so I guess I'll do a little live demonstration for you guys. So hopefully I'm not spoiling anything for you guys, but if you don't want to see any spoilers, look away. But anyway, I guess we're gonna go into the Bloodwood. I'm just gonna use this. We don't need to buff up or anything like that. We do have to wait a little bit till we get our charges. See, if I cast Frost Wall, you can see it goes up to 3. And if I use Firewall, this will go up to 2. So keep in mind of those two things. You want to make sure those are kind of charged up before you head into battles. And then you also want to make sure you got your Frost Bomb and your Frostbite for your bosses. So usually I start off with a Frost Wall, or I'll use my Fireball depending on the situation. So I use fire, and then I use my Frost Walls to block projectiles. If I see that there is like some projectiles coming, I'll try and throw up a Frost Wall as soon as possible. And then we have our Enfeeble, slowing down the enemies when they come close to us. That's because of our aura that we have. Also, when your Frost Wall is in your way, you just take it out with your Fireball. Try and keep running, because the more you run, the more your regen is going to kick in. You get that 50% regen. You kind of want to cast ahead of time. Alright, we can finally see some rares, so I can show you guys how I deal with them. So here's one right here. So basically, I'll use my Cold Snap. And then bust open the wall. We'll use lots of Frost Walls right on top of them, because when the Frost Walls break open, that's when a lot of damage happens. The Comet also helps, but it's not really the main damage dealer. First thing you definitely want to do is freeze them as quick as possible, so their threat kind of like goes down a little bit. Alright, so here's 2 over here. Alright, so we'll try and get our Cold Snap off. Get away from that fire. Oh, okay. I guess there was 2 of them, but I couldn't really get to the second one because he died already. Alright, but that is pretty much it for this build. So let me know what you guys think, what you guys like, what you guys would do. Well, yeah, I am gonna get out of this map. You guys all have a fantastic day. Peace.